Hello, hello, hello. Featuring Cookie. So, I want to talk today about something that I got one of the girls to do. And after coming off a call with someone who has pretty wonky alertness throughout the day, I thought I would talk to all of you guys about it. And that is cold showers and this graph, which is backwards in there. But pretty much, we wake up here and then our cortisol levels rise. This is a normal cycle of cortisol. And then as it comes down, melatonin comes in to put us to sleep. Now, a lot of people wake up and their cortisol levels, let's put this in a different color. Their cortisol levels may come here. Okay, you can't see that one. Use this one. Okay. Their cortisol levels may kind of go like this a little, maybe come up a little with some stressful stuff throughout the day and just be a little wonky. Or you might actually have a normal cycle in the morning and then it probably plummets a little too much and then, I don't really know what will happen for the rest of the day because everyone's different. So, we are going to talk about cold showers because one thing that cold showers can do is put you into a state of wakefulness and alertness in the morning, because what it does is it spikes up your sympathetic system. Now, in doing this, what it does is that it increases your cortisol levels, plus it increases your adrenaline and noradrenaline, which is kind of that whole fight and flight mechanism, which is pretty much what's going to wake you up for the rest of the day. So that is something to really give you a really beneficial start to your morning. If you actually can stand a really cold shower for about like 10 seconds, that's like baby time. So if you can get into the cold shower for 10 seconds, that's going to really get you back up to normal levels with the cortisol. And then you can hopefully fall back into the normal cycle again. Now, one thing also, because I found out with someone else in the group when I had a phone call, is that they were having their cortisol levels plummet a little too much throughout the day and come to here. And like they would start pretty slow, which is why I suggested the cold shower. And then it'll come up again as stress of the day comes in. And they'll probably have like super high cortisol levels beyond what's normal. And then probably the receptors would become like I don't know what would happen there. But then her levels came down and she found that exercising around this period brought her back up into a good mood again. So brought her cortisol levels back up to where they should be, which allowed her to have proper, like, to allow the melatonin to come in and give her the proper sleep again, because she fell into that whole rhythm and she got in the exercise. It gave her the endorphins. She ate her meal, because one thing that happens with carbs in particular, carbs and protein, they release insulin, both around the same rate. Beef, cheese, dismiss. Well, any meat, pretty much any protein source, and carbs. They stimulate the insulin to bind to the receptor and allow the fuel to flood into where it needs to flood into. Now, this release of insulin is what negates cortisol. So, in having your protein and your carbs meal after your training, you're bringing down your cortisol levels again to come back into the level range, and it's not keeping them chronically high again, because cortisol can be catabolic long term. Short term, it is actually really beneficial while you're exercising, because it's what we adapt to. It's what, like, muscle breakdown is what we want throughout our training, because that's what we adapt to, because then we want, it's like cutting yourself and then a scar comes in to make it a stronger kind of skin type of thing. And that's exactly what happens with your muscle cells. Like you break them apart and then they come in and they have to adapt to the stress, because they don't want to get the same damage you got last time. So they adapt to that level of stress, which is why you need to chronically, constantly, progressively overload, because as soon as we adapt to that stressor, then we need to get overloaded again. And that's why when I do my programming, I don't like to change things up until you've stopped adapting to a certain stimulus. So we'll start here, you'll keep adapting, we'll keep progressing you with weights, reps, blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as you stop adapting to that particular type of stimulus, that's when I usually will change up like the program or whatever. He's pulling my rug. That's when you'll usually have to change up your method. Like if you're doing a lot of strength stuff, that's when you'll change to hypertrophy, vice versa. But what I'm pretty much trying to say is that that'll, like, that if you're coming down here with energy levels, maybe that's a really good time to fit in like a training session, or maybe that might be where you want to fit in a cold shower, shock your body up again, get the sympathetic system running. And protein and carbs after training is what releases insulin, and that fights the cortisol levels to bring it back down. So there's a few different topics in there, which I don't know if you want me to expand on any of them, but I pretty much covered them all pretty basically to give you what you need to know and keep the video pretty short. So let me know if you have any more questions on that, but I just pretty much wanted to say that's the benefit of having a cold shower in the morning. That's the benefit of placing things within the day in a way that benefits you. Like for me, the training in the morning is what ramps up my energy. That's why I train when I do. That hits up my sympathetic system, and then I can come back down into my usual state again. I find that I'm like, when my cortisol plummets around here, and if I do train, I won't be able to have the same, like, it doesn't actually give me that same stimulus. So you need to figure out what works for you within there. But if you are waking up pretty sluggish, I do highly suggest having that shower there so it wakes you up. And if you really need to have that pick me up throughout the day, and you haven't got your training here, then I'd say train there, or have another shower or something. That I'm really trying to say have a coffee. But yeah, so hope that helps. And yeah.